national. They this is everybody. The western section, the southeast, mid east, southern, everybody. So this is, let's see it close for there. 62% looks like come 1 to 3 times. So most people come during Juma. Then the next one is 4 or more times, which is 16%, which again I would think suggests that there's a school there or a daycare there, so they'll come more than 4 or 5 times a week. The strength is establishing social welfare institutions to respond to the need for spiritual and material assistance. Areas of growth, establish programs for young members of the community. Again, they talk about IWDM Muhammad's 9-point plan. Overall, 8.4% said their community is dying. 51% said surviving. 40% said thriving. So a little bit more than half of our association said they are just surviving. And 40% said they're thriving. Masjids that have programs outside of for the larger community, 71%. The people said, it says 71%, and then they asked about the age group, so they broke this down. Then they mix this one up, because this one has the ages and it has whether your local masjid has any larger community activity. So for thriving, it did the gender. But for male, if you said you were surviving, it was 41% males that said it was surviving, 38 females. For thriving, 47 males, 16 females, dying, 8 males, 5 females. And this small chart right here, you see that is the age groups, and that's thriving, surviving, and dying. And the smaller one is the people below 40 years old to 21. So it was only 4.5% of the people nationwide that responded that were under 40 years old, and it was 71.6% of the people were over 60 years old. The survey noticed thriving masajids, age, community, trust and broken relationships, desire for unified voice, identification criteria for the association. So those are things that we were saying that we wouldn't have to or want to implement to verify that they're a part of this association if we could come up with a criteria to show that they're in our association. Masjid takeover threat is obviously something that is of concern and diminishing focus on the IWDM Muhammad's tafsir. The survey wonders what identifies a community as in the association with the teaching of IWDM Muhammad. What would be the benefit of having a national youth leadership model that develops young or youth leaders in the tafsir of IWDM Muhammad? Could we benefit from a national membership structure? So every structure that goes along with each of the masajids or Islamic centers. And what would a national membership structure look like? So this was presented to the imams in Florida and all the leaders there, and they gave their assessment of it. Unfortunately, I wasn't there to make it. I was in Mali at the time, but I wanted you all to see this, see what was given to the larger community, to the leaders of these other communities, and I see what the concerns are nationwide and how we can how we correlate to them. So what would you all say, or you think, maybe think to yourselves, what do you think we are, surviving, thriving, or dying? Do we have a good succession plan? If the imam is not here, do we have a good education plan for the tafsir of Imam WD Muhammad? Islamic education period. Do we have somebody that will replace the imam for ta'aleem? Do we have a program where people will be here for more than 2 times a week? And if we don't, how can we do so? How can we make it so it's thriving, so the lights are on all the time? One way we can say something is thriving, or we can say this masjid is thriving if we're open for the 5 prayers. If we have an assistant imam, if we have somebody that we do have somebody that I can regularly call on, 2 or 3 people that I can call on to give this.
Which is a lot better than it has been.
right, which is much better than it has been. I'm very happy with that. So when I give up and give these footballs, it is not because I have to, it's because it's probably something I want to say, or I didn't reach out to somebody in time to give them a football. Because I try to give people at least a week if they're going to do it. And there are some people that are interested in doing it, they want to learn, they want to mature in their public speaking. I'll try to get them to do Talim first. So it'll be a smaller group, less pressure on people, so they'll be able to gain some confidence. But I think the store next door will be great for our desires, our aim to be thriving. The more traction, the more traffic we have. I know these kids are making noise here, but alhamdulillah, this is what I'm saying. It's better to make noise than complete silence. That's what I mean. This is how we are. This is how you start to thrive. You have activity going on here. I would rather be able to say, can y'all tone it down, and have nobody to tell tone down to. So getting inspired to learn Arabic. I think one of the concerns that I have is I want Arabic to be a focal point for us. And alhamdulillah, there have been people who reached out to me, people who are not in this masjid, some people who are in this masjid, some people who are in our association. There's a brother from the Nation of Islam asked me a couple of days ago about learning Arabic. Well, alhamdulillah, I will definitely teach you Arabic. I said, if I can get enough people to do this, I can set up something, I can have them come to you or my mom. She wants her grandson to learn Arabic, or she wants to learn Arabic. I told the brother this, is that I feel like I can teach you the basic fundamentals of Arabic within a couple sessions. And then if you know the rules, then you can practice it on your own. Because that's really all it is. After you learn the rules, it's just practice. So that's on you. I can't get you to memorize vocabulary words. And if I teach you the fundamentals and the rules, you can go home and practice, right? So if you want to learn surah, ayah, anything in the Quran, I can teach you that right away. I teach you the vowels, I teach you how they look in the beginning, the middle, and the ending. It's not difficult. The only difficult part is finding time to practice. That's all it is. So once we get that, and the majority of us get that, because I think sometimes we have a complex with this Arabic language. You think it's too difficult, or there are Muslims around who know Arabic and we feel some type of way around it. But if we learn it and we master this, you don't have to master it, just learn it. I'm not master of it. My son knows better than me, and his son's gonna know better than me, so they'll be masters of it. But they gotta start somewhere. I saw something on Instagram about a brother saying, give dua to the person in your family that accepted Islam. And I thought about the importance of that. My father accepted Islam, right? He knocked down these dominoes. I wouldn't be a Muslim if he wasn't a Muslim, probably. When I was born, and I was 2 or 3 years old, I saw him praying, and I was on the bed trying to pray with him. I was beside him trying to pray with him. Then my children become Muslim, my wife becomes Muslim, my mother becomes Muslim. So it's a domino effect, and the same thing is true with learning this Arabic. The more Arabic we learn, we'll teach that to our kids, they'll teach it to their kids, and then it becomes second nature because we made it. The people who are the first Arabs look like all of us. This is our language. We are speaking a colonialized language, or a colonized language, but a language that we invented, we'll be able to do it again. We shouldn't be concerned or scared that it looks foreign. It does. I mean, I was showing a brother, I was trying to convince him to learn Arabic, and I opened the Quran and try to show him how easy it is. I said, I know this looks like Chinese to you. It does. But if you know the letters, all you do is write down each letter and then recite it, and that's it. Because the Quran, Arabic period, is phonetic. So there's no trick words in there, right? If it looks like it, that's how it sounds, right? So you can learn anything. There's no words like laugh and night, and words, or what is that word I hate? Is kernel. I mean, still an O, and an L, and there's no R in here at all. It's a kernel. But there's no words like that in Arabic. So once you know the rules, you can recite it, or you can just write it down and then recite it, right? So if you know, okay, this is the I, this is the N, this is a whatever letter, then you know you can write it down in English and then recite it. and memorize it and then put that into your salah. And then your kids will be able to know that and whatever else they know, it just compounds like that. So then you get the barakah, you get the blessings for you learning and teaching someone else and on and on and on. I think once we do that, we get to eat tafsir, Imam Deputy Muhammad. It will be easy. I think, brother, did you say you was going to start bringing the videos?
Inshallah, we have 2 years of Ramadan sessions that were live, and they're going through Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran. Ayat by ayat, word for word, in other words.
Right.
So this is during the month of Ramadan, which is the best time to do it. So we can make that available for the community.
So this is what I also want to do, and I want to make sure people understand this. New Muslims are very eager to learn, and they're very eager to do something. The sister Tia that just became Muslim, she's the one that wanted to do this game night. She wants to have food on for Jummah. And there are other sisters and brothers, as soon as they become Muslim, they want to do something. I'm trying to tell them, I will give you the latitude to do it as long as it's allowed, right? I want you to. I want to support you in doing it. That's why I said I wanted them to have the Young Muslim Adult Association. So you can come up with ideas, and if they are allowed, we'll do them. But I can't think of all the ideas. I don't know everything to think of that we should do, and I can't initiate everything. So she wants to do game night, alhamdulillah. She wants to have food for Jummah. She cooks vegan food. Alhamdulillah, right? It's all allowed. Definitely. We got chips in here now, so if you have an idea that you want to implement, and it is allowed, and it's good for the community, it's a way that we'll be here on a different day, or come here on a day that we normally don't come, or just something that maybe is 10 people. I don't care how many people it is, just enough so we'll have a reason to have the masjid open. Alhamdulillah, that's how it begins to grow and thrive, and we become successful. The last thing I was just thinking about is what I was saying about the question we asked about helping the larger community. I asked Yama, or I was asking them about what we did before. We gave away food to the homeless, we gave them shoes and coats, and we cut their hair. We did all those things. We have to do that again, especially knowing what is going to happen in Park Place. I told you all what is happening. In the next couple of years, this place is going to be thriving. These businesses that closed down are going to be open. There's going to be a boxing gym next to us. So there's going to be eyes on this place all the time. There are going to be new people coming in here all the time. When a boxing event, anybody wants to train, it's going to be a gym, a boxing gym, and they're going to have, from what I understand, they're going to have fights there. So there are going to be people coming in and out already, and you understand already the influence that Islam has. I know y'all seen the 2 brothers that accepted Islam over the last week or 2. Like, Islam is a discipline, right? So it disciplines people, so they're naturally gravitating towards it. So anybody that is boxing or trained in boxing will be interested in Islam. So we got to have a presence here, right? We definitely have to have the doors open. So when somebody rides past, they're like, I don't know what this place is, closed, except on Friday at 12 o'clock when everybody's working, so nobody sees it open at all. So inshallah, we have the store open, so that'll be open all the time. We'll be able to have some visibility, but also we just got to be thinking about how we can help this larger community, how we can be visible in this larger community.
So this Thursday coming up, the 4th, the trustees is going to meet, and Brother Kareem has provided us with information around the common 501(c)(3)
Mm-hmm.
So not have no dark shadows, nothing hanging over our head with that. That will give us the opportunity to go after grants,
Right.
to have programs, to be able to do some things on a larger scale, that will be able to benefit both the masjid and the community as well.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad that he's taking the reins on that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very resourceful person. He knows a lot of different things about a lot of different things. So alhamdulillah that we're going to get that. As I said, when I was talking to the conveners in our Mid-Atlantic group, everybody's 501(c)(3) except us. Except us. Except us. By the way, Muhammad repeated himself 3 times for emphasis so people can accept things. So if I say 3 times, it's assumed. So he said, I said, accept us 3 times. So, because that's important that we're not. It's just,
You know,
it's
that's
time
not
for
such a bad thing.
Say again?
It's not such a bad thing that we're not.
Can you explain why?
Right.
Well, it's a long story.
I asked a judge, I asked all the conveners, because I asked them specifically about some of the concerns people had in this masjid about the 501c3. And I don't know if you have some different ones, but the concerns I asked them were about the idea of us doing things or forced to be doing things that's un-Islamic. And they said that that's not a concern that we would have to have because we would sign as a 501c3 as a religious organization. So if our religious tenets say this thing, we can't be forced to do it by the government. And that was one of the concerns that they have. Maybe you have a different concern. But that's what I articulated. I asked everybody in our region. Then I asked the judge who came to our class on maybe 2 months ago. And I asked him the same thing. I said, this is the concern that people are having. And because he mentioned the 501c3, and I told him, and I said, well, I got a question about this because we don't have it and everyone else does, and this is the concern. So he said, there's nothing to be worried about. We can't be forced to do anything against our religion.
Well, my concern, since you asked, I mean, I would go along with what the community is doing. But actually, we, as a religious community, we're supposed to be independent. We're not supposed to be a part of the government. And when you become 501c3, you are subject to the government's rules. This community has always been independent, and if we're gonna be independent like we're being taught, you can't be commercial and 501c3 and be independent. So that's just my opinion. That's what we have been oriented towards. But I will go with the community because that's what we have. That's all we have.
So,
and if you remember the Williamsburg Charter, where Imam Muhammad came and they asked him to come speak about 4 freedoms. One of them was religious freedom. Totally independent of the government.
right.
But our community, we need money. We do things because of what we do. I think there might be a fear of us being left behind and because we're not using our collective things like we did under the Nation of Islam. Because we're not doing that, we have to capitulate.
Well, let me ask you this. If we got to the status that we wanted to, then we could relinquish that 501c3 status if we didn't need it. Right?
When you say we got to the status,
so if we got to a level we didn't need any grants or need any government assistance or any assistance from anyone, if we were able to be fully autonomous, then we would do so. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, you want to get it first and then drop it later on? Is that what you're saying?
So, for example, I guess this is what I mean. It's like America, Western society looks down on welfare, but not corporate welfare, right? So, if we are working as a corporation, because we are signed right now as a corporation, right? And we get subsidies from the government so we can get the store right. If that was the case, and we got the store, and we started making revenue coming in $1 million a month, $1 million a week, then we wouldn't need the government assistance. But if we do now, right now we need a grant. We need this Messiah grant, right? Right. If we had money, then we wouldn't ask for it.
Absolutely, but I think the thing is we haven't figured out how to do that without putting this under a 501c3 or becoming subject to the government. So if we can find out how to do that profit making without having to put this under a structure where we have to abide by their rules, then we'd be fine. It's not impossible. We just haven't looked at it this way.
It don't make you do anything you don't necessarily have to do other than.
But once you become 501c, you automatically under their auspices. So whether they make it or not, you have to.
They have certain criteria that you got to qualify for to get that money. And you got to say, okay, you just can't get the money and say, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do. Bitch, you can't tell me. I don't want your money.
That's right. And they can demand to see your books at any time.
Yeah, well,
And if you don't have your books right,
with no problem with that. I mean, what problem would you have with that? You can't take their money.
no, I'm not talking about based on, they could just come out of the pier and ask to see your book, just like a notary. I'm a notary for the state. They can ask to see my notary book at any time. I do notaries throughout the city.
I don't see anything wrong with it, unless you got something crooked.
I mean,
But
because they want to see the books, that's no problem.
Well, if you don't have the books, if you haven't kept the books, then that is a problem.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's why they say, hey, you don't get this money and do what you want to do, you gotta have some records. So we
Absolutely, and if we're not in the habit of keeping good records.
I don't see no problem.
but that's not.
They say we'll give you money if you're responsible, and that's all we have to do is be responsible. So they're keeping us honest, but I think it's just that.
I was gonna say, I was sitting here thinking about a sister that used to work with me over at Norfolk. She's probably in her 30s now. And I used to tell her, I was like, "Is your mom?" She was like, "You want me to go to that mass shit?" And I was like, I don't know, you got someplace else to go? You know, she was like, "She gets tired of y'all old people." You know, and so I had to listen to her.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because they was not from the first.
Mm-hmm.
They tired of hearing about the first.
Right.
They tired of hearing about Amen Muhammad, right? Because we didn't take, and it is not me, I'm not gonna say me because I wasn't a part of that. The folk who had or followed Amen Muhammad did not take the tenets and do with it what young folks think should have happened.
Right.
Like, where are y'all at now? Y'all still don't have it.
Right.
You know, that's their premise, that's their thought process, right? Now, I know that people that we knew from Philly will put their house on the line.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and then people lost their houses.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, people.
Brother, wait,
In this community,
what I'm saying is, that's how people who don't want to go for a 501(c)(3) don't want to answer to anybody else would put their house on the line for the masjid. Either you going all the way or you not. So I'm just saying, like, young folk don't have any, not all of them, I'm not saying everybody, just the people that I talk to don't have a lot of faith in what we're doing because we don't show them nothing. They are like this.
Right.
They want to see everything right now, the whole tech thing. You want to tell them, "Oh no, I don't do that." Why you living?
Right.
You know, so how we have to move.
Yep.
We can't keep doing things the way we've been doing them. We have to integrate what's going on now in order to be, you know, have everybody involved, because we're not gonna always be here. And if the young folk don't know how to handle the books, that's our fault. And if our community dies because we don't let go, that's our fault.
Absolutely. I'm gonna get you that one thing I want to say about that is corporate America is changing their the way they do everything based on this new generation.
Mm-hmm.
They know the new generation are impulsive and they are impatient. So when you would work in the same position for 10 years, they're thinking of a succession plan for those new people coming in there. They'll have them working there for a year or two, then they need to find out, they make up another position for them to have, even if they don't, they just made it up out of the blue. Oh, now you're a teacher of something, and now you're something else, now you're assistant to assistant manager, until you get up to the manager position, because if they don't see succession, they are gone. Mm-hmm. They have loyalty to no one. That's why so many people come in here and take a shot at 10 and then you don't see them again, right? If they don't have something for them right away, then they're going somewhere else. And then you mentioned something else at the end, and I was going to say something about, I can't remember what it was. So,
Well, you know, Allah tells us in the Quran that Satan threatens us with poverty. And on the other side of that, he feeds our expectations, gives us the wrong expectation that we should have like this.
right.
Not just us, the younger people too. So with that, this is why we respond to these things. We don't stick to what we have. We can't further the real cause that we have if we latch onto everything that comes our way, that's gonna affect our foundation. I'm not talking about being technologically savvy or having all the skills that we need to accomplish this or accomplish that. Our foundation has to remain the same. I mean, it's not remaining the same. But if we think about it, we're really getting away from what the people who came before us set out and worked for us to have. From Marcus Marvell up to that IWDM. They wanted it to be independent. And the works that they did were independent. They were not, they were not dependent on government. So,
What were you gonna say?
I was going to definitely reiterate what the sister said. I'm sorry, my name is Elijah, brother Elijah. I'm from Detroit, so I grew up in a whole Muslim community. I went to a Muslim school all the way through to 12th grade. And to elaborate on what you're saying, I think you have to have a school. Even if you start with a daycare, you absolutely have to have a school. If you don't have a school, then this is what you'll have. Adults, the older, talking to very few, because you're gonna lose them. Everything that you said, you're gonna lose them. The phones, the TVs, the radios, all of that stuff is instant gratification, instant stuff that they can play with, is tangible, they can do things with it. If we not meeting them where they at, you can almost forget it, because when are you gonna try to meet them where they at? When they're 30 something? It's not gonna happen. They're gonna be so far gone.
yeah.
And if we look, you got Dean Squad. Have y'all heard of Dean Squad?
Dean Squad. It's a propagation.
So they're Muslims, they're rap,
Oh, yeah.
right? So, but that's what the kids listen to, right? In Muhammad schools, they got it up on the screen. Dean Squad, that's how they learn their prayers. That's how they do it. We can't teach them the way we learned 30 years ago. It's just not going to happen.
Well, Islam is set. Certain things got to be as it was. I mean, you can't change it up because the young kids set aside them. Otherwise, we'd be all over.
Well, I think what you're saying is we just can't teach it the same way. Because I remember when I was coming up, to be honest, we had all Muslim teachers. We definitely had some female teachers covered, just like the sisters covered. And we also had a young brother that was, he was a teacher, but he favors you. He favors you. He would close the door. Don't get me wrong. Most of the time when he closed the door, there was no female sisters in there. He would close the door, and that's when we did basically questions. Because again, I'm from Detroit, so it's a lot of stuff going on right outside the school doors and walls that we got questions about. So
a lot of immigrants, most immigrants.
right, and I mean we had a big Arab community too, so but it was like we got a chance to ask those questions that we didn't get a chance to ask maybe your father or the imam. You know what I'm saying? And this brother, he definitely became an imam, but he was younger, so you need somebody in there to kind of mesh that.
Let me speak to that point. My mom just became Muslim like a week or two ago, right? So we go to my brother's daughter's house, and his daughter and his son are there, and I'm there, and they ask her about Islam. How you feel being a Muslim? Now I'm an imam, right? Right? I can tell you about Islam, but they want to know about a new Muslim, a Muslim who just became Muslim a couple of days ago. Well, you know what I mean? Because they're experiencing and what they're going through, they're trying to figure out what would happen if I became a Muslim? What would I have to do? Because they don't want to, like you was talking about, right? They don't want to talk to the imam. I don't want to do it either. I want to get his levels to this thing that I want to go to. So we got to be able to get to them on each level that they are. I got a letter in my office that Imam Fareed wrote, and he wrote it to the community about his khutbahs. He said he uses Imam W.D. Muhammad's name sparingly. because he does not want to ostracize people coming to the masjid who are not in the association. He uses his teachings, and then when people ask him, well, where'd you get this from? Oh, I got it from Imam IWDM Muhammad, instead of saying his name repeatedly. Because it ostracizes people who are not in the association, and it confuses people that are new. My oldest son thought Imam IWDM Muhammad was the same as the Prophet Muhammad for years. Because when he came and listened to the khutbah in here, he couldn't tell the difference between those two. Because he kept saying it over and over. So we have to look to the young people and see what they learn and how they learn and try to work with them from where they are. Now, what you're talking about in terms of success, and what she was talking about in terms of success is this. So we have something that we can show them. Their first experience, the Nation of Islam, they taught do for self. And we have people here that do for themselves. That's the reason why I want them. I didn't get a chance to tell you this. I think I told you for Black History Month to do your presentation I've been asking you about. I'll pick a weekend for you all to do it on a panel together so they can see their succession plan. They can see themselves in you all and what was taught then. I think from the Nation of Islam, when we converted to Al-Islam, and somewhere in between there, we lost the do for self. We lost that idea for my generation. I'm not talking about your generation. Because the closer you are to it, just like the Sahaba, the closer they were to the Prophet, the better that they were. The further we get away, the more we're interested in working for somebody else. And what you're talking about as well, like working for, being affiliated with the government. Me now, I don't want to be at all, right? But when I was 20 years old, I want to work for the government. That's a guaranteed job. That's a guaranteed check. That's guaranteed insurance. So we have to show positive examples and show how it is successful and get the people who have done it, who are doing it now, to show the young people. This is what you should be doing. Like right now, my oldest son just got his master's degree. He's working for this company. I'm trying to convince him to do his own thing. My middle son hasn't graduated yet, so I want him to do for himself. But you got to give him an example of why he should and why it's important to do it. More than one example, multiple examples. He turned down a government job a couple years ago. They were going to pay for his school. They were going to pay for his housing and and then he had to work for them for 3 or 5 years. But something I said made him say, I ain't never working for the government at all, right? I don't know what I said, but he was like, so I tried to convince him, yeah, you just do it for a couple of years, then get out. He's like, no, I don't care what's happening. I'm never working for the government, right? So not that what you're saying is not legitimate, is that, but we have to give them examples and reasons why. Because I don't think he regretted it, but maybe I was just influenced enough for him to do it, but we got to give him examples of why he should do it. So he's going to school now, but he may end up working for a government facility, a government run organization or something. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, my comments were only regarding the structure of the message, not about nothing else, not for working on career, nothing, just for the structure of the message.
Of the message, I got you.
That you shouldn't be under that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
I got you.
You know, I'm for all the stuff for the young people, but when it comes to the religious freedom, that's the first freedom of the country. And maybe we don't know about it, but in this book, Kitty Muhammad was invited to Jamestown, Virginia, to speak on the first 4 freedoms. You probably got this book, probably seen it. But that freedom, the first freedom is religious freedom. Religious freedom means you're not connected to the government like that. So they can't dictate to you. Your religion is your foundation wherever you go. When governments fall and rise, your religion is still there. It's just that independent. When you get 501c3, you are officially subject to them. Whatever they want to do, you are subject to them. Granted, they haven't done dumb stuff, right. But you put yourself under that.
So if they do, then we won't see a 501c3.
Well, you still do. 501c3 or not. If the government comes through here with eminent domain, we out.
Well, that's what
I'm saying is, they are always going to be under the auspices of the government. Whether we are or not.
You gotta look at the examples that have been around for 100 years. Look at the Quakers. Look at these people who are independently religious. Even though they have their own land and they have their own city and everything, and they don't get it from the government. That's the first freedom. That's the first freedom.
Let me say this, the Quakers in Pennsylvania come to the Reading Terminal in Philadelphia with a business license and a 501c3
You can do that. That's why we
to sell their goods. They are 501c3 right there. Right there. So here's the point that I'm saying. You may think that nothing comes in. The Quakers, they got rocked up there. They're crazy. They have so many drugs and so much sexual orientation and all that. Why? Because the older people never wanted to give the younger people the opportunity.
And we're not talking about giving young people opportunity. We're talking about the structure of. See, we keep confusing this.
No, I'm not.
We're not talking about giving the young people an opportunity.
Masters that already have,
Yeah.
that's
All
already
of
under that
that.
structure.
All of that.
So
Most of them are, but that
We don't understand.
No,
most of them
only
are.
That's why I said it
We don't
three
have
times.
a And all I'm saying is that we.
It's the only one, I'm doing speaking.
It might be one or two of them.
Yeah,
Might be one or two.
That's all. That's all. You know, we can. That was just some.
And with 501c, it's still a separation of city and state. So they were,
Separation is.
well, when they said that church and state, when they will honor our wishes per se. I mean, they honor a person's religion.
Yeah.
You know, the government honor people's religion.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I asked the judge that. That's what's going to happen. So but I understand what you're saying. But if we decided to do human sacrifices, they would come in right now. You can't do that. But we don't do that. So we would be fine. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand.
Right.
This effort that we're about to embark on,
Right.
it's going to be private, and it should be separate from the religion in some way that is still ours. We know it's ours, but the religion should be religion, and the business should be business.
So how do you?
That's
how do
impossible.
you say that Al-Islam is a way of life, which is 24/7, every day. Everything that I do should be about Al-Islam. I can't separate it. I can't go to my job and not be Muslim.
Okay, no, that sounds like what they say in the world. Separate the church and religion.
Whatever we
I
do
think we're
next
going to end with that. We'll stop these. Y'all keep talking.
whatever we do next door, it should never be separate from this.
Well, only in the sense that this is profit making, and this is not.
So let me say this.
That's the only sense.
One of the reports
Of course.
this building